We told you about the Dow's current 8-day winning streak. That's its longest since September of 2019. The S&P and the NASDAQ have both been up 7 of the past 8 sessions. Joining us to talk more about the markets, and we'll touch on Bitcoin as well. Mike Novogratz, Galaxy Digital founder and CEO. Are you in the soft landing camp yet, Mike, or what do you think is responsible for the equity markets being so positive?
You know, I think it's an AI bubble that is in its early innings, right? The AI story is so powerful, right? Every single person who logs on to Chat GPT gets fascinated. You start playing with it. It's quick adoption. You look at the driving, 4, 5, 6 stocks that are taking this thing up. They all have an AI component to them. And it's a story that, bubbles don't really last 2 months and die, right? These are usually 12 to 18-month phenomena where people buy into a new story. And that's what's giving it juice. Listen, if you look at, 2-year rates, they're close to the high yields to sort of think, we're not really getting a lot of relief from interest rates for stocks or for Bitcoin or for any risk assets. The market does think we're gonna roll at one point. We've been wrong. The economists have been wrong on how fast it would take for the economy to slow down. I actually think when I look back, why was everyone wrong? Our entire careers, all of yours and mine, every response from governments to crises was always monetary. Right? Cut interest rates, inject lots of liquidity. Well, with this COVID response, it was giant fiscal. And we've never really lived through an experiment where we did UBI for the entire country, right? We've normalized 5%, budget deficits, which is a dangerous thing. But I think one of the reasons the models aren't working is we're just not used to this. And none of us have kind of lived through an experiment where you just gave away so much money. My instinct is at one point that runs out and the economy does slow. But every time you think it's slowing, you get another strong number. It wouldn't surprise me if today's claims are lower. It's a tough market to trade in that respect.
So you think just the excitement about AI that's spilling over into all risk assets? You think that's why the S&P is up 20%? You think that's why Bitcoin has been...
Bitcoin's got its own story. I think, listen, this normalization of 5% budget deficits, right? Trump started it. Biden's continued it, right? Governments love to spend money. In the long run, someone's got to pay for that. And that's why Bitcoin, gold, silver, I put them all in the same bucket. Silver and gold trade great. Bitcoin's got the additional adoption cycle, right? What drove Bitcoin this year was retail, and they continue to buy, and they continue to buy. And now we've got an ETF on the way. And so I'm more comfortable being long Bitcoin today than I was 6 months ago. 6 months ago, it was scary. Now we see the future kind of spilling out.
I've kind of tongue in cheek when Kelly says she's going to buy Kelly Evans says she wants a 2-year at 5%, I go, I would just put it in Bitcoin. I'm kidding around, but I sort of feel the same way with the BlackRocks and the Charles Schwabs of the world. But I'll tell you got that on one side, and big name people want these ETFs, but then you have Gensler and the SEC on the other side. Is Gensler? Do you think he's just anti-crypto or anti? Exchanges that sort of work unregulated, because that's the key difference. You think he'd like to take Bitcoin off the table as a financial asset, or does he just want to regulate the way that it's traded?
I think if like this Ripple lawsuit taught us anything, right? Gary has been saying, come in, the rules are clear. The rules are absolutely not clear. The judge just basically said to the SEC, you're wrong. And so, Richie Torres, the congressman from the Bronx, put a beautiful letter out to the SEC, to Gensler, saying, guys, it's time to come to the table for the White House, for the SEC, for Democrats to sit down with the Republicans and give us some damn legislation so we can get on with life. I don't think Gary inherently hates Bitcoin or hates crypto. He did see an industry rife with a lot of fraud. I do think Elizabeth Warren and the progressive side, for reasons I can't understand, have been anti-crypto. And I think any central bank governor gets nervous about something. You know, Larry Fink went on TV and said this is going to be the first global currency. Well, Janet Yellen thinks, and that's her job, right, to defend the dollar as a global currency. And so there is a tension. I like to think of Bitcoin as digital gold, a store of value, and that keeps the tempers or the nerves of central bankers down a little bit. When you start talking currency, they get nervous. But there's that tension there. But I think, listen, the cat's out of the bag. Bitcoin's not going away. Like, you threw everything you could at it, and it's up 80% on the year with interest rates higher. And so the adoption cycle continues. Big ideas are almost impossible to kill, and this is a really big idea.